Good stuff.
David Swift, nice to see you, man.
Yeah, likewise.
It's been way too long. How have you been?
It has been way too long. Yeah, I apologize. I'm very happy to drop in and see you guys all again.
Yeah, it's great. Good to see you. Hey, Janice, thanks for the note.
Hey, John, how are you?
Nice to see you. As you guys might know, Janice and I grew up together, when we were like 10 years old and in the middle of nowhere in Illinois. And so it's always so comforting to have Janice on the call.
Aww.
So, yeah.
Always an adventure with John Windsor.
Amen.
It's
one way to put it.
Exactly. I know. I always, even from a young age, Janice, I'm always, somebody has to be there to make sure they pull me out of trouble.
That's me.
Exactly. Well, these days I have a whole crew of folks that are kind enough to make sure that I don't fall off the edge. So, well, good to see everybody. I don't know. Is John here? I don't see John.
Yeah, John's beneath you. I can see him.
Oh, there he is. Okay. Hey, should we just go? Anybody that's new?
Absolutely. If we've got anyone new on the call, kind of raise your hand and we'll make sure you get a chance to take a 30-second intro and tell us who you are and why you're here.
Oh, I'm back.
Or do the real hand and we'll try to find you.
I'm like, wait, do you want me to raise my real hand or my?
Go ahead, Rachel.
Go analog or digital, up to you.
Hey, this is my first time joining this, so it's awesome to meet everybody. I'm Rachel. I'm the co-founder and CEO of a company called Wethos. We're a platform that helps freelancers start and scale their businesses. So we make it really easy to price complex projects, invoice your clients, and then if you are collaborating with others, we make it easy to split payments with other freelancers. We have a joke that most agencies are three freelancers under a trench coat. So we're trying to basically kind of facilitate this movement more towards this idea of like a virtual studio, which is kind of our world's version of an e-commerce shop. So we have about 70,000 freelancers on the platform, and we're a team of about 14 based out of the US.
Awesome. Welcome.
Ashwarna?
Rachel, don't give away all the good stuff yet.
Hi everyone, I'm Roshanara from London. I've actually just recently left Randstad Sourceright. I've been in the MSP industry for 11 years, designing global complex talent solutions for a number of the world's biggest clients. Taking a little bit of time out at the moment, but ultimately we'll then pivot into freelancing, but also entrepreneurship, which will have something still to do with this industry, but also moving in the well-being space. But I'm here today really to serve, but also while I'm taking some time out to stay afloat with all the going-ons in the industry. So thank you for being part of the community.
Vanessa.
Hello, thank you for having me. So I'm Vanessa Miller. I've been in the workforce solutions industry for about 12 years. I am now VP of Channel Partnerships at Graphite, which is an independent talent marketplace. Previously, and I'm day 27 in, so a freshie here at Graphite, but it's been a great ride so far. Prior to Graphite, I was at Atrium, a women-owned workforce solutions firm, primarily offering employer of record, agent of record, and a vast variety of other recruitment solutions, RPO and MSP. And prior to that, I was with Allegis Global Solutions. So working on building channel partnerships for Graphite and kind of partnering with some old friends that I've made along the way throughout my network and tenure here in the industry. So really excited, my first OA or CTW call. So excited to meet you, and thanks for having me.
Excellent. Good to have you here. Antonio.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me here. I'm from Zagreb, Croatia, and a friend recommended me trying transformation of work, center transformation for work, as an experiment to see if some of my ideas might be relevant to people who are engaged here. I understand that it's open assembly now, so there's a lot of things going on for me coming here first time. But to shortly summarize what I do, I'm an advocate for humanizing organizational development. I have been working on my PhD related to organizational change, how to make it more human, how to connect people through storytelling. And in short terms, I feel that's the core of my interests, and happy to hear your overall program and socialize with fellow colleagues.
Welcome.
Very, very good. Kate.
I'm Carly Coleman's posse. I'm the corporate PR director at TopSell, and I'm honored to be here thanks to a wonderful connection with the famous and lovely John Younger.
Excellent. Well, Carly, take it from there then.
Yes, yeah, I was hoping Kate would do all the hard work and I could just be like, I'm with her. So Kate and I are both with TopTal, Global Marketplace for Talent. I lead our talent success teams there, which is a group of teams just focused on really improving the talent experience and helping our talent be successful. As Kate mentioned, I had the pleasure of meeting John a couple of weeks ago and was thrilled to be invited to join today.
Don't give away all the good stuff yet.
Always the good stuff from you, John.
Thank you, John.
Patrick.
Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Patrick Santiago. Appreciate the welcome this year. I just joined with a company called Topcoder. Mike Morris should be pretty familiar with it as he was the former head of that company. I just got brought on board to head up their direct business. So looked up a couple different associations and whatnot, was recommended Open Assembly, and here to help learn, grow, and hopefully provide some value for other people in the space. Thanks.
Exceptional. Jacqueline.
Hey guys, I'm Jacqueline Smith. I'm actually going to be talking in just a little bit, so I don't want to give any of the goods yet, but I'm
good.
Very good. So John has effectively intimidated people.
I know.
No doubt.
I'm not even going to share my company name.
Oh no, Jackie, Jackie, give a minute of it because it's a great story.
My company is called howdy.com. We help connect LATAM software developers with US tech companies, but we go about it from the talent aspect, and we think about it through the communities down there, which I'll explain more when we get to it. So I'm super excited to be a part of this meeting and to continue to be a part of what you guys are doing.
Dustin?
Yeah, we're in Austin, Texas.
I thought you said Dustin, John. I'm just going to jump right in.
I did. Go for it.
Sweet. What's up, everybody? Dustin Talley. I run a firm called Talent Simplified. I've been in the space for about 17 years. I love all things direct to talent, digital talent, and have been following probably many of you, like so many familiar faces, and those of you I've stalked on LinkedIn for years. Love the work you all do. Heard about Open Assembly about a year ago, and then this year, kind of like, my New Year's resolution just to jump in and see what everyone's up to. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. Good to see everyone.
Fantastic. And Michelle.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for having me here. As you know, I'm Michelle Liu. I currently serve as a recruiter at Good Shepherd Services, a not-for-profit social services agency at New York City. And I actually think I found OA CTW through Denise Bruder from Sway. Anyway, I've been listening to all of the calls and I haven't had a chance to actually join a call live. So I'm really glad to get a chance to do this. So thank you for having me.
Cool. Well, we got a fun call set today, and I see the smile on John Younger's face, and he's excited to launch some stuff out here. But we also want to just make sure we cover some of the important news and the shift of the organization. It's been wonderful hearing the name OA said by so many people, and I think that clarifies an important point as we go through the transition. So it's been my honor to kind of be the lead voice for the CTW community over the last year. But as we look at organizations that are as dispersed and as diverse as this group is, it's really important that we also spread out where the voices are and where they come from. So I am stepping aside. I will stay very, very active in the community. You guys will see me as we go forward. Brandon kind of takes the lead, but I wanted to maybe just pause and maybe let John Windsor, who's kind of our founder, take us back to the beginning and tell kind of a quick story of the backstory of where this came from. So we're all kind of level set on where we are going forward. And I think Barry may share some pieces as well. So with that, I say thank you to all of you and look forward to staying in touch.
Yeah, thanks, John. You're always amazing. So much great stuff, and I know you'll stay in touch and and be an important part. I mean, one of the great things about working with John is he's going to be out helping the demand side clients really figure this out because as we all know that's our reason for being is how do we get more demand side momentum for everybody in the community, freelancers and platforms alike. I just take a couple minutes because I want to just step back and talk about the origins and make sure that we're all aligned. And when we started Open Assembly, it was really out of LISH, the Laboratory for Innovation Science at Harvard. And when I went to LISH, it was in I guess 2016. And it was a really great place to land. Those guys had written a couple of case studies on me, and Kareem and Jin were really such great partners. And in 2018, we ran a thing called the Crowd Academy that the lab put on. And there were 100 of us across the industry globally. It encompassed enterprises and platforms and some academics. In fact, I think Mike Morris was there, right, Mike? You and I kind of sat back and kind of we're in awe that man, like as Mike and I both started in this industry in probably 2001 or 2002. It's like, wow, look at all these people. They all have the same problems we do. Let's start a conversation. So that was the beginning, really, in earnest of Open Assembly. Is like, let's have conversations about what's happening in the industry. And as you can imagine, when COVID hit, it just really exploded. This group exploded from a couple dozen of us having conversations on a regular basis to a few thousand of us that have come to the calls. I think we're up to about 4,000 people that have come to the calls over the last years. And so much great work has gone on, from everybody, from individually. The vision always has been, we want to create a community where it's high tide floats all boats. And I used to say that a lot. I don't know if I said that much lately, but, a place that's a platform for people to not only make connections, but also be able to do business, right? To be able to grow the momentum of the industry. There's so many large problems we need to solve in this industry, and it's going to take all of us to do it together. So, we just wanted to create the container and allow that to happen naturally. And it's done. We've done, I'm so proud of this community. It's just such an honor to be a part of it. I think one of the things we figured along the way is we started, during the height of COVID, we started the Center for the Transformation of Work, and with the goal of transforming work for 1 billion people by 2025. And that's been an amazing effort. And I really appreciate, Hannah Young's efforts on, the compliance stuff and Link and the advocacy and so many other folks that have done such an amazing job in getting that going. The original intent was that we wanted to separate Open Assembly from our standard setting body that could be for the industry. And one of the things I think we've found is as it's exploded, OA is kind of it's become the community for everybody. And there's really confusion from a brand perspective between OA and CTW. So there's no changes really. It's just that we needed a better alignment. It seems like when I go out and give talks, they're like, you guys are from OA, right? And I was like, well, OA is OA, and then there's CTW. And I have a really hard time explaining the differences, although our mission is exactly the same thing, to transform work for 1 billion people by 2025. We've gotten really more focused under Barry's leadership to really think about, we feel as an industry, the best way to do that is to help platforms grow. And the way to do that, and the reason to do that, is we think that we're entering into, like we see everywhere in life, a more digital life, right? So we know that freelancers will be better served with not just the current platforms, but platforms to come. There's so many examples of people that talk today of emerging platforms that I get really excited about, that help freelancers do their work in a better job. And John's going to lead some more of that conversation later. But our mission really is to make sure that we can create the demand, that we can be the aggregator for the industry, and make sure that we can get those really awesome organizations that we work with, from Deloitte and NASA and UST and NTT and HCL, that have all become part of the group, including Wellmark and other folks. So that's really our mission for being, is like, how do we create this community that helps the movement, that serves not just solving problems for industry and enterprises, but also making sure that we have lots of jobs for the freelancers that need the work and want to grow their careers in a new way. So really, we're really excited about this, and don't think of these changes as anything more than a name change to make sure we're all focused so there's less confusion when we're out there. We're all part of the OA community, and I'm really happy and just love you guys so much, and continue onward in the same thing that we've been doing. And we'll be switching up leadership and inviting people from the community to lead. Kind of John's done an amazing job, but he's got some other things that we're working on that are so big that we've got to figure out. And Ashley's going to help join in. She's been such an amazing part of the community for a long time. So I don't know, I'll leave it at that. And Barry, I'm sure you'd like to add some things. I don't know if I've got all the stuff dialed, but you'll, like, as always, you do a great job of bringing us down to earth and making it all make sense.
So if, for those of you who may not know me, I'm the chief exec of Open Assembly. It'll be a relief, as John was saying, that we don't have to say what's Open Assembly, what's CTW now. It's just one Open Assembly community. And for those who don't know Open Assembly well, just to, what if I take a step back, we're trying to transform an industry, right? An industry that's been working in the same way for decades. The way we've accessed external talent, especially in large organizations, has been mainly analog and agency based for as long as I've been working, and much longer before that. And in a digital world where matching supply and demand is so possible and is proven every day in our lives, from ordering groceries to taxis to booking travel, whatever, or within a company, a supply chain, stock control, career development, it's all matched digitally. And it's crazy to me that digital technology has yet to transform the external talent industry, or certainly at scale. The external labor market's about a $5 trillion market, yet digital platforms only generate 14 billion, according to SIA recently. That's less than 0.25%, right? So we want to help, as part of the industry, we want Open Assembly to help to change that, to drive demand for talent platforms. If I think about that from a contextual perspective, I spent 20 years in the outsourcing industry. It was an incredibly high growth, really successful industry, but one which is incredibly inefficient. Writing a sourcing strategy can take months. Selecting the best supplier takes years, or it can do. Then you transition from in-source to outsource, or back to in-source, and then from one supplier to another. It's incredibly inefficient and really, really analog. And it used to really frustrate me, because the frightening thing about the outsourcing industry is that 70% of deals fail to meet their objectives, or their original objectives at least, that they set out, and 20% fail altogether. And of the 10% that make it, the one most successful thing that makes them successful is the individual people who represent the outsource, whether it's a TCS or a Wipro or an HCL or whoever. It's the humans, it's the talent. And so I had this sort of light bulb moment a few years ago when I thought, well, if you could skill source as well as outsource, if you could match the individuals with the projects and do that digitally for temporary projects or tasks, if you could do that quickly, safely, and securely using digital matching technology to match demand with supply, then that would be transformational. And of course it's possible. And that's what Open Assembly, it's what we're trying to do by matching the companies who have the demand with brilliant people who are registered with different talent platforms. We want to make it as quick, safe, simple as possible for businesses to use external talent platforms. And ultimately, if we do that, we want to help to transform an industry by generating as much demand as possible. But to generate that demand, obviously, we need to build our brand. And we're trying to build the Open Assembly brand. We're also trying to build the CTW brand, but just keep it simple. We'll put all of our efforts into building the Open Assembly brand. And so that's what we're going to do. As John says, it's really, really simple. So our why, if I'm try and be Simon Sinek for a second, is to transform work for 1 billion people, as John said. We want to do that by championing platform-based work. And we'll achieve that by generating as much demand from businesses as we possibly can for many of you guys. And that requires education and training and standards and the community. So as well as changing the name for this year, we did have a paid membership last year. We're going to scrap that. So membership of Open Assembly community is completely free. We'll continue the fortnightly calls, of course. We'll continue the focus on standards. We've got the Trusted Talent Partner Program. We want that to become the equivalent of the Twitter blue tick, if you like, for platforms. And we're going to be holding a big event this year as well. It's going to be called Transform Work 2023, and there'll be lots more of more detail on that coming soon. So yeah, we want this community to be a safe space where we can provide education. Talent platforms can come and discuss what they do with enterprises who want to work with talent platforms and freelancers who want to work with talent platforms. We want it to be the sort of town square of the open talent industry. Which is the way John Younger has always described it. And John, who is one of the leading influencers of our community and the industry, and someone I have huge respect and admiration for, continues to be our expert in residence. And so it gives me great pleasure to hand over to you, Mr. Younger.
Thank you. The floor is yours. I am proud to be not only a member of the OA community, but I think I'm the oldest guy here. So that is not a call for respect. That's a call for amazement. So let me talk a little bit just for a couple of minutes, and then I'm going to be quiet and get the real folks that are going to be talking to say something. I've been beset by 3 or 4 issues in freelancing. I've been writing about this stuff since 2014. And it's been a wonderful gig. And what I thank Barry and John and John and the other Johns in OA for is the chance to continue writing with some support, which is fabulous. And to give you a sense of what we're learning, my morning was spent talking to somebody in Dubai, somebody in Singapore, and somebody in Ghana. And there is cool stuff happening all over the world. And how wonderful that a slice of all over the world is here. We put together last year an interesting experiment, and I'm looking at Una and some of the other folks who were part of that. The experiment was, how do we take John's vision and Barry's vision and bring it down one more level so that we're really talking about the lots of job stuff that John mentioned? More specifically, how do we create more freelancer first thinking in our platforms as opposed to client first? And how do we make sure that we're helping new freelancers start out strong? I want to use that line again because it's a line that besets me for the last year, and it's going to be my focus for this year. How do we create more opportunity for more people? And that was, after all, what caused John to create this way back when. That has not changed. And what we did was put 15 CEOs together. Mari's one, Una's one. There are a bunch of others that are here. I know Rich was part of it. Karina was part of it. And what we asked people to do is to describe how they're putting freelancers first, how they're supporting the success and prosperity of freelancers rather than simply the success and prosperity of clients. We want it to be in balance, not only that clients get a great experience, the help that they need, et cetera, but that freelancers get the opportunity to contribute to a good life. And what we know is that it's a challenge for an awful lot of platforms. If we're doing 5 to 10% of people that get any work at all, it's a miracle in some cases. And what we know is that there are very few platforms that provide more than 20% of their freelancers with work. So what can we do to put freelancers first and help our freelancers that are coming on in the next year or two to start out strong? And we are privileged today to have some folks that are going to talk about it in ways that are much stronger than what I can bring together. I want to mention some names, and then I want to invite people one at a time to talk for 3 or 4 minutes about what specifically they're doing that they're most excited about in the freelancer first orientation. So first, Carly and Kate from TopTal. Nobody gets to hear TopTal talking, so this is fantastic. Thank you, Kate. Thank you, Carly. They're going to talk a little bit about what's happening in the wonderful work that TopTal is doing around new talent coming on board. Next, Rachel, I am so excited for you to share even more around how you're doing pricing stuff and teaming, because those have been 2 really powerful things that have gotten you from what, 20,000 to 70,000 in a year? Amazing. Third, Jackie. Jackie, you have created a unique relationship with your LATAM freelancers and US companies. And I'm really excited to hear you talk about that for a couple of minutes with some of the folks here who I know are going to try to steal this idea. Mari at Uncompany, you are doing some amazing stuff to reduce friction points in the way that you've designed your platform and how it operates. And I hope you'll talk a little bit about that. Erin, where's Erin? Can I see her? Erin, would you talk a little bit about how you built the community at Andela? One of the things that, if you don't know about Erin Peters, she's really been a master architect, not only for the Andela platform, but also for the TopTal platform way back when. Dave and Mike, will you talk a little bit about how Torque provides quality feedback to its freelancers? And Matt Matola, you've got the hardest job. When you've heard all of this, what are the 2 or 3 key themes that you're hearing over and over and over again? And with that, I'm going to keep time. So I hope I won't annoy you if I say wrap it up. But please, Carly and Kate, will you kick us off and talk just for a couple of minutes about the cool stuff that Talent Success is doing?
Yeah, absolutely, John. And I have to say, Erin, I know this is our first time getting to meet, but that's a name I've heard quite a bit because I got the pleasure of getting to build on so many wonderful things that Erin and her team did at TopTal many years ago. So as I said, I lead our talent success programs at TopTal. That is the name that we give to a set of teams that was created about 2 years ago that was specifically focused on improving the value proposition for talent. How do we make TopTal the place to go build your freelance career? One of the biggest challenges that we wanted to tackle when we were thinking like, what is talent success? You know, how do we go tackle this? Is we felt like talent needed more support. We know that freelancing can be so tricky to figure out. How do you pitch yourself? How do you set your rate? How do you find the right roles? And so one of my favorite things that we've done is we've actually created a team of professional career coaches. So folks who, you know, have 10, 20 years in major companies as professional career coaches with tech professionals, and they are explicitly focused on helping talent land jobs and be successful on those jobs. So we offer group coaching workshops on topics, everything from, you know, effectively navigating the job search to managing client communications and those kind of tricky situations that come up with clients. And we also offer one-on-one coaching. So I think, John, you were alluding to sort of what we do with our new talent. You know, now any talent that is new to TopTal will actually get a coach who is assigned to them. They will reach out to them, offer their support and mentorship, and really help guide them through the first month at TopTal with the explicit goal of helping them land that first job as quickly as possible. So I love this. We've seen really incredible feedback. We've boosted talent retention. We've got more talent landing jobs. But, you know, personally, I think we've just really helped the talent feel like they aren't alone in this process. And we hear every day from them how grateful they are to feel like they've got somebody sort of shepherding them through, you know, this new career.
Carly, that's fantastic. Thank you so much. Kate, is there anything you'd like to add from the communications perspective?
No, nothing of great value. Carly is really the star of this show, but I appreciate being able to be a voyeur.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. We're going to give, if there's time, 2 comments. One is if there's time, we'll open it up for questions after. But second, you've gotten everybody's name and email. Have at it. Have at it. I think that Carly and Kate would be delighted to respond as long as you don't ask for stuff that they can't share. Rachel from Wethos, will you talk a little bit about the pricing stuff and the teaming work that you're doing? And let me just point out that Rachel has gone through a kind of a journey in the nature of the platform itself, from being more focused initially on independent business owners to being more focused on freelancers or B2B, which is a really interesting shift. Thank you, Rachel, for commenting, and unmute.
Yeah. Hey, it's great to see you again, John. Yeah, I'd love to talk a little bit about that. So basically, I started Wethos because I used to be a freelancer and I used to work in advertising. I quit advertising and I started the company with my now co-founder, who I met in advertising, and our business grew really fast. We did like 1.4 million in revenue in like 18 months. And that's when we found out how hard it was to scale a service-based business. It's hard to scale because by nature, you literally have to have more people. And more people create more complexity, specifically like financial and operational complexity. And so we got to work on thinking about like, how do we create the sort of financial and operational infrastructure that maybe a traditional agency would provide to somebody like a creative director without the brick and mortar? Like, what does that look like really, you know, online in the digital space? And so that evolved over time. And really people come to our platform for two main reasons. One is the pricing recommendations. So we have basically built this big database of templates. And actually, if it's okay, I'd love to just screen share really quick because I think that is the best way to show it. So we basically have this big database of templates that are priced out based on how thousands of people are, like what they're charging. And in each one of these, there's individual services that also have price points based on how other people are charging as well. And so this makes it really easy to put like a larger, more complex scope of work together quickly, and then be able to adjust that and turn it into like a budget and a team project essentially. Because the next big piece of our platform that really is like our new take on the community is freelancers who hire other freelancers. So that's how a lot of people get their first jobs when they're a freelancer, is their networks. In fact, the vast majority of freelancers get work from their professional networks as the #1 source. And so for us today, the place where you find work, like a marketplace, and the place where you build community, like social media, they're separate. And that doesn't make sense to me. So we basically combined the power of those two things. And now on the platform, you can publish your profile so that other studios can hire you. And you can also find other people to team up with, add them to projects, and then actually process the payments and the invoices. I needed to show it because sometimes it's hard to just explain. I'll just take a step back for a quick second before I wrap. The real reason why we're doing this is because in the US, 95% of freelancers today do not break 6 figures. And that is not a viable and lucrative career for what is going to be half the US workforce. So for us, this is like a really, really important initiative to help people not only like raise their rates and earn more, but also to sort of break that 6-figure ceiling by being able to win bigger projects and team up with others and making that just easier and more accessible to a wider audience.
Cool. Thank you, Rachel. Fantastic. Let me also point out from your stuff that one of the things that's happened as a result of your work is you've really grown very, very fast as people have seen the kinds of services that you offer. I want to turn to Jackie at Howdy. Only a platform located in Texas could be called Howdy without breaking some rule or another. But Jackie, will you talk a little bit about your unique relationship with the freelancers and with their clients?
Yeah, definitely. So hi again, everyone, with Howdy. So one of the things my background was in sales and operations, and we were building teams. And actually we've used a bunch of the companies that are here on this call as well. And it kind of inspired this company as well. And one of the things that I realized is that I wanted to connect great talent with great opportunities in the United States, but I wanted to make sure that the talent was getting the same type of benefits, the same type of experience that people in the United States give to the teams local. And so I went down to South America. I went to several different countries at all the different like tech hubs that they were having, just to see like how people were working in the different office spaces and the different perks and the different benefits. And I realized that, you know, the US is almost like a crystal ball for people's future. It's where we're about 5 years ahead in so many different things that we do here. And so I thought to myself, like, well, can I bring this down to like what we're doing now? Can I bring this down to South America today to give independent professionals, the folks that we hire, the experience, the benefits, the mentorship, the community that people here in the US are so privileged to have as well. And so when we started, we had this mentality of like where developers come first. Our focus is solely on placing software developers at US tech companies. And so we would land in a city. So we're not an online marketplace in the sense that it's a bunch of different places. We like to connect freelancers in local cities. So we create this community-centric developer first place. So what we do is we'll land in a city, we'll open up an office space where it's more of like an event center. And anybody in that community that is a software developer is invited. We will do events, we'll do speakers, we'll do hackathons. We do a ton of different things to really give back to the local developers in that community. We also, I love what TopTal had mentioned with their career coaches. We also hire local leaders in those markets to also help with the coaching and the interview process, so that when they do meet with the US tech company, that they're thinking about the problems, they're thinking about the questions, very similar to what like a product developer in America, how they would answer, because we tend to be a little bit more like holistic when we solve problems. We tend to ask questions more about how this impacts the business. And so we're giving them the tools, the education, the mindset, the community, so that they can be connected to other developers in their local markets, but then also the career, the mentorship, the coaching, so that they can be successfully placed at US tech companies here. With that, once they get placed at a US tech company, while they are like an independent professional and they can leave at any time, we really focus on allowing them to be full-time team members, core team members at these companies. Because something that we also learned very early on is when they get hired as a freelancer, especially as a software developer, if they are only hired for a project, or if they're only hired for a short-term thing that they have to build, they miss out on the education of what that feature did for that business. And what I mean by that is when they build something, they think it's a success. They go, they work on a different project, or they work with a different company, but they don't see how that product interacts with the customers or the end users. And maybe it didn't take into consideration, 10 other things that was working within that product. And so one of the things that we really encourage them is stay with these companies for the long term, so you can see how what you built impacts, so you can see failures, so you can see wins, so you can grow, so you can learn in a way that just building products or fixing bugs doesn't necessarily give you that exposure to the masses. And it's been amazing to see. And some of our team members have been with companies for years. And other folks are going, they'll do something for 6 months and then they'll find another company for the other 6 months. But it's been phenomenal to see. And I would say that everything we've done and everything we've designed has been to support the developers in the local market and upskill them. And we don't even think about the demand side. And what ends up happening is the word of mouth has been our best friend, because companies have been so thrilled with the quality and the attention to detail and the team members that they're able to hire through Howdy, so that we've grown organically that way. And it's been awesome to see. And I don't know if there's anything else to that, John, that you wanted me to share.
No, that was beautiful. But can you put in your information so that if people want to follow up, can they follow up?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Good. You're going to get a lot of calls. I'm sure of it.
I would love it. I would love it.
Thank you.
When John
Mari, pardon me, Jackie. Mari,
no,
we're going to move on to Mari. Mari, you've done something really interesting with Uncompany. You focused on reducing friction within the platform experience itself. That obviously helps freelancers in a variety of ways, not least of all, not wasting their time. Can you talk a little bit about what you've done over the last couple of years?
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Nice to meet all you guys and see all you guys again. So I also started out in advertising similar to Rachel, and started Uncompany after freelancing for some time. I started way back in 2009, many eons ago, and kind of in the process of freelancing myself, realized that there was all these things that I missed out on, that it was lack of community, real continued career development and education, and then just connecting with good clients and opportunities. And I found myself, as many of us have, spending the majority of my time just developing the business side of stuff and not doing the design work. And so at Uncompany, we really try to focus on all of those little friction points that I found were just, getting in the way of me building my business. And that was education, community, and opportunities. And so with our clients, with our freelancers, what we do is we support them by helping them connect quickly to different clients, which we vet, which we walk through, which we kind of set up for them, all but eliminating that process of new business development for them. So essentially handing them a relationship that they can then manage and foster and grow. We take care of a lot of the back office stuff. So payment, processing, I think continuity of pay, getting paid on time is always a big issue. So we pay everybody net 30, and we just manage the float and the variability on our client side. So a lot of the things we do for the freelancers is helping them develop that education. You know, what does career look like? I think what does scaling look like for an individual business is awesome that Wethos is working on. But like that's the future of independent working, is like, how do we scale? How do we retire from being a single person, you know, business owner? So those are some of the things that we work on at Uncompany with our services and different things.
Thank you, Mari. That was
you guys.
fantastic. And again, will you put your information in case people want to learn more? You've done some really cool stuff that people are going to want to dig into. Erin, you already got praise from Carly and Kate, but now we're focused on Andela and not your prior success in TopTal. What are two or three things that you're most proud of having done in creating a freelancer first environment within Andela?
Absolutely. Well, I think it's important to note where Andela kind of started off when I had joined them. So initially, Andela wasn't actually a talent network or platform. It operated more of a hybrid between, I would say, a coding boot camp and a dev shop, because they had full-time employees on staff as their developers once they graduated and would match them up to projects from campuses and hubs in different cities in Africa. So it was very locally focused. It was taking really green software engineers and matching them onto projects. And then pandemic hits and the whole world changes. People can't go into offices anymore. They start expanding globally. There's no longer simply juniors in the network. There's also seniors. So there was a whole bunch of different change. Initially, those education programs were in partnership with local governments, and we started to make a shift towards partnerships with technology providers in some of the most in-demand technologies that were in the market. So that was really helping with the utility. We would train engineers initially, and there was no more demand for them. We didn't need a lot of Android engineers. So we were doing almost a disservice both to the companies and to the talent that were investing a lot of time and resources in developing those skills. But these technology partnerships went absolutely fantastically. We were working with Google, Microsoft, Amazon AWS, Facebook, and everyone directly who were saying, this is industry demand. This is what you should learn. And it's resulted in training, 250,000 people globally, worldwide, over 200,000 of those on the African continent to date, which is fantastic. All 100% free for the freelancers, and resulting in actual tangible certificates from these technology organizations that they can use at Andela or anywhere else, which is amazing. So I think education is really at the heart and soul of Andela and the community that is there, developing the skills to become lifelong learners. And not just the technical skills, but a lot of the support systems that we've already heard of today. Not just technical skills, it's how do you price, Wethos, how do you kind of help with that? How do you create that sense of community wherever you are, if you're from a home office or elsewhere? And also for those who may not have access to great internet or great Wi-Fi, how can you go about selecting the right workspace or getting into an environment where you can access your work from even just the most basic standpoint of getting on your computer and working? So it was a lot of transition from very green, very junior developers, freelancers, remote workers, and even contractors, and making sure that wherever they were in their life cycle and journey, Andela was there to support something for you so that you can continue on that path. So very education focused, very much listening, and very much growing with the community.
Wonderful. Thank you, Erin. That was fantastic. And again, if people are not interested in this, I'd be very surprised. So please, will you put your address in as well? But you already have done that. Dave and Mike, would you talk a little bit about the great work that you guys have done to build quality feedback right into the process of how your freelancers operate?
Yeah, thanks, John. First of all, I think it's just awesome to hear everybody on here just, really treating the freelancers first. I think that's a consistent theme that's been phenomenal and something we try to do. So when someone comes and joins Torque, what we try to do is find out the most we can about what they've done elsewhere and provide that back to them in like a free profile, including looking at their skills. We have some logic that looks at latent skills. So we say like, hey, you might think you're good at these things. You're also good at these things. Or help tell them where they can go to get better jobs, because they may have these skills that are also transferable to here for higher rates, things of that nature. But I think what's most exciting for us is something we've been using for a while now that we have not actually released yet. It's actually releasing later this quarter, but I'll give the OA team here a bit of a little preview is we bought a company called Codalike. Codalike.com is a company we worked with in years past that does, you could think of it like the Apple Health Watch for developers. So as you're coding, it plugs into, a dozen or so IDEs, and it actually gives you feedback on what you're doing. So, and even how you work with other people. So it helps look at burnout, like, hey, you're spending a ton of time right now compared to everybody else. Maybe you're burning too hot. So it tells you that. It'll tell you potential tech debt, like things like, hey, you and your team keep touching the same function over and over again. So it actually does not look at the code. It's really looking more at the metadata of what's around your code itself. So it's interesting from our standpoint, is we're treating that kind of like the Apple Health Watch. And then our Torque profile is more, the Apple Health app itself, where we can pull in data from GitHub, we can pull in data from Stack Overflow, from other sites to get a more holistic view. And then we already offer human-based coaching today, where we have people mentoring people at clients, help them be more successful, coach them on how to be better, and use the data coming from these tools to be able to immediately impact how they're developing for the customers, and also how to help drive their career. Over time, we expect to add more and more kind of AI to that as well.
That's fantastic. Thank you, Dave. And thanks, Mike. And last but by no means least, Matt, you are always a wonderful guy to bat clean up, because you're really good at sort of summarizing stuff. So don't let me down. What are the 2 or 3 common themes that you're hearing that are of interest to you and you think would be of interest to others?
Yeah, so first off, I'm going to try to be you, John. It's going to be pretty tough. And Dave, I recognize the accent. I grew up outside of Boston. The second you talked, I was like, wow, I missed that. I want to go get a lobster roll. But I'd break it down into 2. So there's one major theme that we've seen over the past year, and that's there's finally a business case to put freelancer first. And so I've been freelancing for 10 years, had a love-hate relationship with marketplaces forever, and always wondered, do we need a place for them? And the reality is, yes, we do. And now they're finally putting freelancers first because there's a business case for it. Then 3 sub-themes to that. The first is really investing in the freelancer's career rather than just matching and leaving. And that's everything from education, helping them hire each other, giving them working templates, sort of that side of the house. The second is investing in the right client connection. So not just, hey, let's put up one post and have freelancers fight over each other. Instead, it's let's get the right connection, which is huge. And then the third, which Dave, you also kind of hit on it, which I think is so like as of last week, is giving every freelancer Superman suits. And so with ChatGPT, I mean, the kind of world just changed overnight with ChatGPT, but leaders like us are able to say, let's go beyond the headlines and actually create freelancer first applications using technology, whether it be like the GitHub's things you were talking about or ChatGPT. So, major theme is just there's a business case finally. This is no longer just doing good. This is actually going to increase revenue and drive profitability. And then to do that, it's investing in the freelancer's career. The second is investing in the right client connection. Third is the Superman suits. So it's an exciting year, y'all.
Thank you, Matt. And one last comment before I turn it back over to Brandon, and that is, I am so excited about the 15 CEOs with whom we're working. Matt and I are working, and Aaron will begin to be part of that work as well as we expand the study group notion. And I can't thank those 15 CEOs, some of whom are in the room today, Una and Karina and Mari and some others, Rich. Thank you so much for contributing to this. Our goal at the end of the season for the Freelancer First study group is a movie. We're going to ask Sam Durand, who's a wonderful young French filmmaker who focuses on this, to make a little bit of a movie on kind of what does Freelancer First look like. People read my stuff, but I think they'd rather watch something than read my crap any day. So with that, last comment, and that is thank you, Barry. Thank you, John, for supporting this stuff. It's coming out of your pockets. And I want everybody to hear that. It's coming out of their pockets. This is an investment in our collective future. And I can't thank you enough for that. I'm off. Brandon, you're back.
All right. Thanks, John. Thanks, everybody. A little bit of housekeeping. So the next community call is on the 16th. We are going to have Alex Hurst and Lizzie Penny, the authors of Work Style, It's a new book about, the subtitle is A Revolution for Wellbeing, Productivity, and Society. So more freelancer focused topics there. Please
Brandon,
share.
if you guys haven't heard of them or met them, come along there. They are just awesome. And they're such an inspiration for the freelance movement. So I'd urge you to come along to that.
Yes, they are.
Thanks.
Yes, they are.
And please share the link to join the community. I'll put it in the chat here, but this is all going to get posted on our blog, the recording and things like that. So let's grow this community and make it bigger and better. And if you need anything, just reach out. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, everybody. Love you guys, and look forward to seeing you guys in a couple weeks.
Thank you.
Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
All the best. Ciao. Bye.